pleasure to be with you this morning, and very happy to attend this on a yearly basis. Libraries actually have a very special part of my life. My mother-in-law is a librarian, and so when I was pursuing dating her daughter in high school, I went down to the Sutton High School Library and wrote her a note because she wasn't there, saying, "Please allow me to take your daughter out because I really like her, and I will have her home at any point that you'd like." And she took that note to her father and her husband, and basically that was kind of the start of my relationship with my wife. And we would get married about a year and a half ago, but it all started in the library. And I used to go down to that library and read as much as I could because that's where my girlfriend hung out. And so from an emotional standpoint, I've always cared a great deal about libraries. But as I've gotten into the legislature and as I became a selectman in my hometown of Sutton, I saw the importance of what a community resource libraries can be, not just for the volumes of books, but the community meetings, and especially when the economy went down and southward. People really just relied on libraries. The volume and the patronage increased dramatically, especially in my hometown of Sutton. It was a real blessing, I think, for many people. They always say, is this the Great Recession, or was it the recession that made us great and brought us back to basics? And in many ways, that was the case. And so I'm privileged and honored to be able to support libraries across Massachusetts. I think they're a valuable resource, and very interested in learning more about the legislative agenda for the upcoming 2 years. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate you giving me a moment to speak, and I'll be around up until, I guess, about 8:45 when we have to run out to the Center of Hope. So, thank you very much.
Welcome to those who aren't from Southbridge. Get into the wonderful library here that's celebrating its 100th anniversary. It's such as Senator Fatman had mentioned, it's such a great community resource. And I think about the history that has taken place here in the library, and I've actually had some opportunities to come in and research and find some of the things that happened in earlier years here in Southbridge. They still have microfiche, which I found really interesting. You put it in the machine and run it through. It's really cool. But having these resources here, as Senator Fatman mentioned, means a lot to the community, not just to kids who come in and use it, but to adults to do research, to see some of the artwork that's displayed. It's such a wonderful place to come. It's welcoming, it's warm, it's inviting, and we really need to support the libraries and the library agenda that they're pushing for, because if we don't, we're losing a piece of our history. And to see this beautiful building here, that's just in wonderful shape, being 100 years old and celebrate 100 years, I can see another 100 people looking back at this time and being able to come in and find a resource for all of their research. So I'm very happy to be part of this. I'm very happy to be here today and to support the libraries in my district and in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for all of those reasons. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Good luck, and good luck for the next 100 years. So.
Next, I would like to introduce Representative Joe McKenna, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I'll borrow a line from my good friend Representative Durant, where the length of your speech is directly proportional to how long you've been in office. And as I've been in office for several weeks, it'll be a short speech, but I do want to echo the comments of the Senator and Representative on how valuable our libraries are. And certainly I'm proud to be a member of the C.W. Mars connection here. And just on Wednesday, I was in the Oxford Library, and as I walked in and was spending some time reading the paper, there were 3 tables full of kids getting tutored after school, and then a young lady walked by with a padfolio full of resumes to sit down at the computer and do some job applications. And that was just one day where you just saw the vibrancy of the library and how valuable it is to many in our communities. and working with Representative Durant over the past several years, we've had a number of different meetings for the community held in our local libraries. So the resource that is here is truly valuable, and I think it's very exciting to see some of the developments here in Central Mass. It was not too long ago that Charlton was able to renovate their library, Dudley was able to build a library, and just last week, or 2 weeks ago actually, Webster authorized reconstruction of their library. So we're seeing the investment in our libraries, which is truly valuable, and it's certainly exciting. So I'm happy to be here and look forward to hearing more about what's on the legislative agenda for our Central Mass libraries. Thank you.
And now I would like to introduce Deb Hoadley, who's here from the Massachusetts Library System. Deb is currently Interim Training and Advisory Services Director there. Welcome, Deb.
Thank you, and it's my pleasure to be here this morning on such a cold morning, but we're glad it's not snowing. The Massachusetts Library System and on behalf of all of our members, we really do want to thank our elected officials for their ongoing support of the libraries. And we heard from 3 of you this morning on how important the libraries are and how you're seeing and viewing the vibrancy of our libraries. We want to also thank the Southbridge Jacobs Edwards Library for hosting today. This is really important for our breakfast to happen so that we can really talk about the legislative agenda and how it does impact everybody in the Commonwealth. We are trying to meet the changing needs of the patrons, and the legislative agenda really does focus on 2 specific lines. I'm sure you'll hear more about this as you hear speakers today. The state aid line of 9501 and the resource sharing line 9506. The boost in the state aid will help libraries buy materials to meet the skyrocketing demands, especially today's ebook market. And I'm fortunate enough to help found the pilot program and lead that program for everyone to be able to receive and to get libraries through ebooks through their libraries. And the equity among everyone is really, really important. The increase to the 9506 line will also help to keep costs down for, in this particular case, CW Mars Networks, and support the infrastructure for this statewide ebook project, and to help 340 participating libraries. That's the maximum amount that we will be helping through the public libraries to get ebooks. It's one of the largest ebook platforms in the country. We know that there is efficiencies in our libraries, and the return on investment for libraries is huge. Where else can you create a platform where everyone is all equal, where everyone is equal, that people coming into the library, people accessing their libraries from the websites, it's really critical that we understand what the communities are getting for their money. There's opportunities for all ages and for the backgrounds, and I'm seeing, literacy tutoring signs back in the over by the front desk area here, and the jobs that libraries are doing. There is opportunities for everyone, and they're filling many needs in the community. MLS provides also professional development statewide, and as Margaret mentioned, I'm the Interim Training and Advisory Services Director, and we are trying to meet the needs of 4,000 colleagues in the libraries to keep up with what is happening in the current trends. And it's really important that those continuing education and training opportunities continue for our libraries to be able to meet the patrons' needs. We also support the statewide summer reading program. It's hosted with the Mass Board Library Commissioners and sponsored by the Boston Bruins. This encourages thousands of reading for boys and girls across the state. Libraries do need more, and they deserve more. Library budgets are still floundering. They're trying to be boosted at the local level, but also needs the help of the state level. So we're asking today, and we thank you again for your continued support of the legislative agenda, that libraries do need more, they deserve more, and our patrons also and our communities deserve the libraries that we can provide for them through the legislative agendas. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is going to be Diane Carty, who is the director of the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you very much to the library for hosting this breakfast today. I am very pleased and very happy to be here. I want to begin also by thanking the legislature for their continued support of public libraries through the Mass Board of Library Commissioners and our various line items. Let me just go through briefly the handouts that we have here for you today. The first is the legislative agenda for fiscal 2016. Within that, you'll find a green sheet which looks at the budget in our line items over time, so that you can see how our line items have gone up and down over the years, and how much we need to get back to levels of a decade ago. The two other pieces I want to point out to you are the library funding piece. This is a chart that we put together to help people understand how libraries interconnect through the state and through the various line items that the state budget provides for the Mass Board of Library Commissioners, and where the local library fits within all of this. There definitely is an interconnectedness with all the libraries. And finally, this map is to show you what line 9506 has been able to accomplish with the increase that we received since the 2015 budget. It's particularly important, as Deb Hoadley pointed out, 9506 helps defray costs in the CW Mars network. And also, this map shows how we are trying to include and incorporate small libraries into the automated resource sharing networks throughout the state. So back to the legislative agenda for 2016. We are focusing on two of the line items for this year. The state aid to public libraries line, which really is the line that is the local aid line for all public libraries. It is a line that when a library applies for it and meets the requirements that are in statute and regulation, they can use these funds for any library purpose. They can use it for capital, they can use it for operating, and over the years, libraries have taken advantage of that. And then there's 9506, which is the technology line that is used for various purposes to help support the technology and the connectedness of libraries to the automated resource sharing network. So those two lines are critically important for all public libraries. And also, as Deb Hoadley pointed out, the ebook platform and the ebook project that we initiated last year and are continuing this year, and has now reached the level of 340 libraries participating, which is a huge number. Massachusetts has always been a leader for public libraries in the nation, and we continue to be, and the only way we can do that is through the support from the legislature and the support from the residents of Massachusetts. Massachusetts residents support their libraries to an incredible degree. The rest of the lines on there you can see are also important to libraries in Massachusetts, and we have tried to include some increases for those lines because we find that all lines need the increases, especially through cost of living. So, and I will be here throughout the morning if anyone has questions about the Board of Library Commissioners and how we help libraries. I will be happy to answer any of those questions. So again, thank you all for coming out, and it is a great pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Okay, we're nearing the end of our speaker list. I have two more speakers, and then we'll close. And if anybody would like to say something in between times that's not a scheduled speaker, please feel free to come forward. I would like to introduce Tim Spittler from the CW Mars Network. We're very proud to be part of one of the largest networks, not just in Massachusetts, but in the whole of the United States. And Tim heads up that organization, and we're very pleased with the cooperative relationship that we've had in the past and that we hope to continue. Thank you, Tim.
First of all, I'd like to thank legislators for their continued support for Line 9506 and some of the other funding for libraries. And I'd also like to echo what Deb Hoadley and Diane Carty were talking about and the importance of this kind of funding. CW Mars depends on its members, and it's a cooperative arrangement that is really important to especially these small libraries in central and western Massachusetts to remain connected to a network. In CW Mars, they're able to share about 3.5 million titles and approximately 8.5 million copies. This has been particularly important, I've seen, for small libraries who have come onto our network and see significant increases in borrowing and usage of materials, and they've been able to better serve their patrons through this funding and support. So, other than that, but thank you.
Our next speaker will be Guy-Marie Flores Rivera, who is here representing Aspira, and she will explain what Aspira is and how important that organization is in our community and throughout the nation, actually. Thanks for giving me.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Guy-Marie Flores, and soon to be Guy-Marie Vulpakti, as I recently just got married. So I currently work for a nonprofit organization in Southbridge called Aspira of Massachusetts, and we are also a national nonprofit organization. But what we do primarily here in Southbridge, we work directly with the school district, and we offer a variety of different programs directly with the students of Southbridge. I currently work with middle school and high school students. My biggest pleasure has been the Summer Academy, which entails different internships throughout the Southbridge community, particularly with the library. We've had over the past 3 summers 2 students that interned here at the library. Also, the library has also been extremely helpful. Particularly Margaret has been on our advisory council for the past 3 years. And we have also extended a hand with the library. For an example, we did the Días de los Niños, Días de los Libros, which is held in April, and then Hora de los Cuentos, which is during the Hispanic Heritage Month, which is half of September and half of October. And I just think it's funny because Hispanics are always late, so that's why we have half of September and half of October instead of just one particular month. So that's particularly funny. And then throughout the entire year, the library extends different invitations, particularly to Aspira and to our students. And as much as possible, we attend as many events as possible. So thank you very much, the library.
I would like to thank the town councillors for coming this morning, and Esteban Carrasco Jr., who is the vice chair of the town council, will give the closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the town of Southbridge, we would just like to welcome you to Southbridge. First of all, thank you for enjoying the beauty of this place. Excuse me. If you look around Southbridge and you look at his history and you look at many different landmarks, this library is definitely a pillar in our community. This library has kept programs going when others have shut down. This library has created new programs when others have not thought or could not figure out how to do it. I want to personally thank Margaret and her staff for the hard work they do. Not only as a town councilor, I'm proud to be part of this community, be part of the library, but also as a participant. I'm a father of 3 young children, and let me tell you, some of the children programming downstairs is unbelievable. Very creative, very entertaining, and my children always love it when we come here and spend some time here. So on behalf of the town of Southbridge, we just thank you to the representatives, our legislators for being here, Senator Fatman. I gotta get used to that. I truly, we are honored that you are here in our community. And again, all those that are here, thank you for supporting our library. Thank you for being here. And again, just if you have time, look at its history. I know people say, technology is taking over, but our library is keeping up with the technology. So it's it's a well-kept place, considering the years that exist in this place. And I just, again, thank Margaret and her staff, and I want to thank you for being here this morning. Thank you.
The last duty I have is to announce that Library Legislative Day will be on April 1st, and it is no joke. We will be all descending upon the State House, and I invite anybody who'd like to join us. There are some flyers on top of the cabinet there for anybody who's interested in taking a bus to the event. Thank you very much for coming out this morning, everybody. It was a very early start, but I think it was very fruitful, and I thank you very much, and for the kind remarks made by everybody. Thank you. Welcome to the Jacob Edwards Library. My name is Margaret Morrissey, and I'm the Library Director. We've just completed the 20th Annual Library Legislative Breakfast, and we have a feeling of jubilation here at the library as it was a big success. We had the legislative delegation come to Southbridge to hear what we as library folk were interested in having for the next legislative agenda, and what to advocate on behalf of libraries and to see what is important and what our focus is. So, as I say, this was a very successful event, and we're looking forward to returning to the State House as a group of librarians and library advocates on April 1st to close out the loop and to explain once again and remind the legislative delegation of the importance of the library advocacy. So, I would like to welcome anybody to the library and to ask you, if you haven't been to the library for a while, please consider coming in, because it is not the library of your childhood. Things have really changed now with the electronic age. Everything is digital, and we ourselves have our own website, and I would invite you to have a look there and see what's available to you at home or at your workplace. It's www.jacobedwardslibrary.org, and you'd be surprised at some of the offerings that we have there. A library card is needed for some of the databases that we have, and it's very easy to get a library card. You just come to the desk with some picture ID and your current address, and we can get you a card in minutes. And this is as good as a credit card, and once you have that, you can gain access to many different subscription-based databases. The library is also very proud to offer many programs, both for teens, juvenile, and also for adults. And we would like to ask you to check out our calendar, which is posted on our website, to see all the various offerings that are coming up. Because it's February, we're celebrating Black History Month. We have an exhibit from two people this month in celebration of Black History Month. We have Abu Mwenye, who is here from Tanzania, and he has some gorgeous paintings and artwork, and you'll probably see it in part of the footage. And we also have some artifacts, wooden carved, hand-carved items from Paul Malinga. So if you're interested in sort of looking at items like this, please come into the library and just walk through, check it out, and just enjoy what we have to offer. As I say, the programs are on through the month because it's Valentine's Day. There will be some nice children's programming. We're having Maggie the Clown, who's coming to do some sort of face painting and balloons and that type of operation, and you're welcome to come with some younger folk. The library continues to have the Lego Club, which is on twice a week, on Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock and on Saturday morning. And this is proven to be very popular with our younger folk. And we all know that it isn't just, Lego is not just for kids. We know that adults can be very interested as well. In the adult department, we have the film club that's once a month on the second Thursday of the month, and this is independent and foreign movies as well as some feature films, and the postings are also available on the calendar. And the teens have Teen Tuesday, so on Tuesday afternoons Ashley has organised many different programs, and I would invite you, the younger folk, teens, and maybe even just the people on the cusp between juvenile and teens called tweens, to come and see some of the programs that we have. Libraries are opportunities for all, and we at the Jacob Edwards Library like to say that we are the community place to be. So please join us. Thank you.
Tangas